How's it going, folks? It's time for our next one of the questions of the 6 top myths of mortgages. And today we're going to go over that section of the call that we talked about. Is refinancing to a lower interest rate always the best call? Key here, as always, get our opinions on the other side. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time. Okay, myth number 4, question number 4, refinancing when mortgage rates are lower is always the right choice.
No, it's not always the right. It goes back to where we were talking about putting 20% down, right? Is a 30-year always the best, right? Again, part of what I do is I structure an advisor would, right? If you walked into a financial advisor and he said, you just need to do A, B, C, D, and E, or she doesn't know anything about you. What is your risk tolerance? What is your goal? What do you want to be like? People get very emotionally tied to their homes, right? And especially when they're looking for homes. They develop an emotional attachment when they walk in the front door, and that's never going. That's great because it's one of the fun things about the job that we do and helping people find homes. At the same time, at some point in time, this is going to get sold, right?
Right.
I may live in my house forever. At some point, they're going to wheel me out of here and someone's going to sell it. Try to get you in the best position possible to make a profit when that happens, right? Let's get to that point. And then you can go buy another home or leave it to your children or, give it to charity, whatever you want to do. But we want to make sure that we are finding out what's specific to you so that we can do that. So, I have the conversation all the time. Generally, the numbers are pretty black and white, right?
Right.
We're going to be able to save you this much, cut this many years off your term. There are costs, right? I tell people all the time, there's this ideal cost mortgages out there, right? And I always say to people, I would love to find that, but I've never found an appraiser to work for free. I've never found it, and I've done this 20 years. So, that's done through the price, right? Where that's raised a little bit to cover those costs. But the numbers are black and white, right? They will tell us the story. That doesn't mean that even though the numbers say you should do it, that it fits into what you're trying to accomplish. They're not the same question and they're not the same answer. So that's why, again, we need to have vision. What are you trying to accomplish? What's the goal, right? So it's not always the right. We're clear as day. It absolutely benefits you 100%. It's not even close. Decide. And you just respect that that's their plan, which they have every right to make. But you need to have the conversation. It's something you should be looking at. One thing Robert and I do is we sit down and we usually once a year we say, let's talk through it. There may be no need for us to change a thing, right? But we don't know that. Let's have the conversation. And that's part of our job is to say, hey, this may benefit you, right? We're looking at it from perspective. They're factoring in many other things that we just can't always be, in the have those conversations. They don't cost you anything. All they do is give you information. And so if you're not have them, number one. If you don't feel you have a close enough relationship with that lender, find one that you do like, that you trust, and have the conversation. It's zero cost. It's just information.
Well, and look, the big one to me, and we've had this conversation with our clients, is that return on investment, right? How long does it take you with that new payment to pay for those costs that you incurred by refinancing? And everybody looks at this long term, and that's one part of the equation, how much money you can save over the lifetime of the loan. But most people don't spend 30 years or the next 30 years in their home, right? So if the math works out that it's going to take you 5 years, then you've got to live there for 5 years before you've made your money back, right? And again, math is that simple.
That's right.
That's part of the equation. So to me, that's a big, huge factor in